Welcome. Hi, it's Jean, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me. It's time for Friday's Stitch Tips and Chat. So let me see, first of all, who is in the chat with us already this morning. We had some early birds. Michelle, welcome to you. Danielle, of course, and Sister Debbie, welcome to you. Good morning, good morning. Mary Tally is with us this morning. Welcome to you. Katie Crafts is here. Welcome. Cindy Taylor. Awesome. Welcome. And Leanne with Pastry Queens Farm Adventures is also here. Welcome. And thank you all for joining me on this chilly here in Ohio morning. I don't know what the weather is where you are, but it's been so nice and sunny that to have it just a little overcast and chilly this morning makes me feel cold again. But that's okay. We'll warm up here very shortly. And Carol is also joining us. Welcome, Carol. June Hansen is here. Judy Hebert. Agnes is here. Wow, everybody popping in at the same time. And of course, Awkward Quilter Lisa is here. Welcome to you as well. Thank you. And all my channel members, the stitching friends, are coming out in force. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So let's pop on into the Stitching Cottage and I'll introduce you to my two guests over here this morning, which we have in the upper, well, it's my upper left corner anyway. We have right here, we have Janome 6600P, which, we have to name the cameras and we might as well name it what it is. That's my sewing machine. So for those of you who have asked what type of sewing machine I use, it is a Janome 6600P, and thus that's what our guest is over here this morning to help you see as I am stitching on our other guest, Cheese and Crackers. That is our project that I will be working on this morning, a cute little fat quarter friendly quilt that is one of the whips that have been sitting in my inventory, and one that I pulled a while back. Didn't get as much done on it as I wanted to. So I have pulled that this morning to work on while we chat. Good morning, Debbie Williams is here also, and I saw Quilt Squirrel. I believe that you are new. I don't remember seeing you before. Quite the name. I love that. As you know, I have pink squirrels that invade the Stitching Cottage. So love your name. She says it is cloudy and 61 here in Chillicothe. Okay, Chillicothe. Debbie is familiar with Chillicothe, as am I. Awesome. Not far from me at all. We might have to meet up sometime. Make sure you send me a message in email so I have your information. My email is always in my about information on my channel, and it is after the end of the live included in the description box. So yeah, would love to get in touch. Okay, so as I mentioned, I am going to be working on this cute design, Cheese and Crackers. I've had it for quite a while. For those of you that aren't familiar with Atkinson Designs, she is a great designer. Patterns very well written out step by step. She does her steps alphabetically, so they're easy to label, and always very clear and beginner friendly patterns and instructions. So really cute. But I had all of the pre-cutting done, cutting of all of the strips and then the subcuts and everything like that that I needed for this quilt. So I did, of course, familiarize myself with where it was that I'd left off since it's been sitting for a while. And these are what the blocks actually end up looking like that are put into this quilt. I'll leave that laying down there. I think you can see it a little better that way. But cute. And as you notice, of course, on the pattern, it shows a light background. I don't know. I just don't like light backgrounds. And while I was in the shop that I purchased this quilt at, this was the quilt that they had hanging on the wall with the red background. And I love red. I also love 30s reproduction prints. So that is what I am using in my quilt. And I'm going to lay that back there off out of the way now. But let me make sure that I haven't missed anyone. Leanne says she came on sneaky. I have to go, but let's give Jean the thumbs up. Thank you. Yes, don't forget that thumbs up. And I was watching the replay of your pass it forward quilts right before coming on, Leanne. So if you haven't watched Leanne's Pastry Queen's Farm Adventures, make sure and check her out. Awesome channel. And it looks like people are saying hello to each other. I'm making sure I haven't missed anyone. Andrea is here. Hello, Andrea. Welcome, welcome to you. And as her normal greeting, howdy, 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 y'all, all y'all. That's that can be a tongue twister. I hope you are having an awesomely blessed day so far. Yes, yes, yes. Having a particularly good morning so far. Thank you. And hope everyone else is as well. But I have the sewing machine ready. I have my pieces laid out here, which we're putting the A sections and B sections together, which ends up making a C section, which is our block. Those that I have done, I'm going to set up there out of the way as well. I'm going to take my little clips that mark that off there so I can just put these together very quickly. And there are no seams to match in this block. So very, very easy to do, quickly put together. Don't have to pin anything, don't have to match anything. And G&B, Gayla says hello to everyone. I believe you are new also. And Jill Strickland is here. Good morning, Jill. And Terry Amsden. Boy, you're all, the minute I turn my head, new people pop in. Have to stay alert this morning. Okay, so I am just going to piece these with my 1/4-inch seam. Have everything set up. Make sure I've just got it lined up here. Oh, better pop my iron back on. So it is nice and hot when I'm ready for it. But yeah, this is a cute. Took me a while, and I was looking at it better this morning because I was trying to figure out, they have these names for these quilts, and you sometimes wonder, how did they come up with that name? And I was kind of looking at it, and I'm pressing over here. Sorry, when I'm not giving you the cold shoulder. Just the way I have things set up here, so I can be all in one area, but I'm pressing these as I go. Oops. But when you actually look at the block, and I'll pull one down again, you can kind of see that this is the cracker laying underneath, and this is supposed to be the cheese on top, I think, and thus the name Cheese and Crackers. But yeah, when you always wonder, how do they come up with that name? And I know when I, design some of the patterns that I do and coming up with a name, so, to other people, you can wonder what's, that, but we don't always know what was going through the mind of the designer at the time they were designing it, and how it may have just some quirky little thing to do with what was in their mind at the moment. So let me see where I left off there. Kelly's Quilts and Cruises is with us. I believe I did say hello to Katie Crafts earlier. Kathy's Quilts. Kathy is here with us this morning. Welcome, welcome to you. Great to see everyone this morning. I know it's Friday, but for some reason, it seems like Monday all over again. It seems like the start of the week. And I know to those of you that work, this isn't going to sound good. It feels like the start of the week instead of the end of the week to me. And I'm thinking maybe that's because I've had a long, long week. I was just wishing that is the start to a new one. Um, Andrea says she's finishing up her pinwheel quilt top today, so I will be sewing and watching. Awesome. And Debbie says that she's just in the back watching, looking awesome. And Debbie says that she loves the fabric. So colorful. Yes, it is. It's I think most of these, because I've had this whip for a while, and the fabric, that was with it. They're 30s reproduction prints, of course, as I mentioned, and I believe they are from the Everything But the Kitchen Sink was the name of that fabric collection at the time. I think there were like three different ones that came out in that way back then. Because this was actually, back in when I was working at Fabric Shack is the quilt shop that I used to work at. Some of you may have heard of it. They were located, well, they still are. They're only online now, but were located in Waynesville, Ohio. But just getting this portion of the quilt. Hopefully, I'm thinking I may possibly be able to finish this, quilt today if I stick with this project instead of jumping to another one, because it is really going to go quick once these blocks are sewn up. And how did we manage? I'm sure I didn't do that. I was just about to sew an identical piece on the other side, and I'm thinking maybe I just pulled from the wrong when I flipped this. Making sure that we're getting it on the right side here. Awesome sauce. I love that fabric. Okay, no worries, Mama Debbie. I'm here chatting and pricing, inventorying my products for tomorrow's craft show. Yes. Keeping my fingers crossed you have a good show, Danielle. And Homestead in the Woods with Dee is also here this morning working and watching. Well, welcome to you. Welcome, welcome. And you are new to watching also. It's great to see some new people here. Tracy Harding is saying good morning to all, and welcome to you, Tracy. And Kelly says, I'll miss your live next Friday, Jean, since we will already be camping. My live will be Thursday the 25th instead. Okay, I will mark that down, Kelly. Thank you. Camping. I love camping. Wish I was going with you. I haven't been camping in a long time. Used to go all the time. Yeah, I always love how Danielle says, we all say replay is better than no play. Yes. And Cindy Taylor is here. She says she loved going to Fabric Shack. Yes, I was there all the time. That's how I ended up working there, because one day the owner said, she said, have you ever thought of working here? And I said, no. And she said, well, would you like to? And I said, well, I never, I said, let me think. I said, sure. I think it was on a Friday. I said, sure. And I said, when would you like me to start? And she said, Monday. So I had to go home and tell my husband, hey, by the way, I'm going to work Monday. And I mean, I didn't need a job, wasn't looking for a job, but hey, who's going to turn down working at a, quilt shop? And I always told everybody once I started working there that my husband spends less money on fabric now. And that is how I built my massive stash that I have of fabric. I see what I did. I didn't end up mixing these middle ones up. They're all in order, but that really doesn't matter because these are all ending up different anyway. But yeah, when you work at a quilt shop, you have a tendency to come home with things from the quilt shop instead of your paycheck. So it is good if you are taking the job because you don't need the income. Just saying. Very true, Danielle. I'll have to catch up with everyone after you get home. Yes. Always when you get behind, it's marathon of watching replays on YouTube at times to catch up with everyone. But I really enjoy catching up and watching replays as I'm doing stuff out here in the Stitching Cottage. So I don't always catch everyone live, but I do catch the replays. These are going together nice and quickly. Okay, and we're going to have two yellows on this one, but that's all right. They're not the same yellow, so it doesn't matter. And who knows where it'll end up in the middle of the quilt. And Danielle says, love those fabrics, bright and happy. Yes, they are. And Danielle says her watch folder is always full. Yes, mine too. I don't think I've ever gotten to the end of it. Maybe I should start at the bottom, work my way up one time instead. And June also says that she loves the fabric, bright and pretty. And Mama Harden is here. Welcome, welcome, Mama Harden. She says, hello, everyone. Butterfly coasters for cancer patients today and listening. Awesome, awesome. I love when people do quilting for charity or any type of stitching for charity, anything for charity. You know, I'm big on charity. And Jill says, Jean, I love your Stitching Cottage so much. What are the dimensions? My cottage is, let me think. It is an odd size because it was custom made, but it is 18 by 18. And the ceilings inside are actually 10 foot ceilings. So that's not as big as I would like, not as big as it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be 24 by 24 with a walk up loft overlooking the bottom portion. But we have a strict city regulations in the city that I live in, and they would not allow that because it would have been 2 inches taller than the roof of our house, which they said was not allowed. Those little things, 2 inches. But it's okay. I'm very, very blessed with being able to have my Stitching Cottage, and thank you. Hopefully my package will be going out to you, Danielle, tomorrow, says Tracy. And Jim is here. Good morning, good morning. It's great to see you again. And Kelly has to go. Her iPad is losing juice. I'll watch more later. I hope it's not leaking anywhere. Just had to get that in there, Kelly. Oh, and I think I've gotten caught up, except with Tracy saying your cottage is adorable. Thank you. I do enjoy it very much. And for those of you that do not know, the Stitching Cottage, oh, not the name of it, but building this in our backyard was my husband's idea. So that is very, very, very special that he decided to gift me this in our backyard. As I get quiet, I always forget, and I have a tendency to get quiet when I'm doing the piecing because I forget that you can't hear my sewing machine, which is very nice that you can't hear it and that I can keep talking while I'm piecing. Not that I don't already talk enough, but yeah, the little I guess I probably had that cheese facing the wrong way on this. These the red squares that are on here on these blocks, they all become blend in and become part of the background fabric when you put the blocks together. So, but I have several, and I did go and check. This pattern itself is no longer available, which I did put the link for Atkinson's Designs in the description box, though, because they have awesome, like I was saying, awesome patterns. And if you are a beginner quilter, that is a great place to go for patterns because they are very, very, very beginner friendly. A lot of them are fat quarter friendly. Um, yeah, just awesome. And they don't only have quilt patterns, they have some cute little bag patterns and stuff that are also easy and fun to make. But but yeah, check them out if you are looking for a good source of some awesome, quick, easy patterns, which are always fun for any level of quilter. I mean, I've been quilting, 40 plus years and I still enjoy their patterns. So I have to pay attention to which side I'm picking up so I know which is the next one. If I lay it the other opposite way, that will remind me. Why didn't I think of that earlier? Hard to tell which stack I just took from. Yes, I am a lucky girl. Very lucky. I consider it blessed instead of lucky, but that's all right. Same thing. And Cindy says she had to step away, coffee. So where is your stitching cottage? It is right in our backyard. It is just a few steps away from stepping off the back deck off of the back of our home. My husband also has, which my cottage was built by the Amish here in Ohio. My husband has a workshop also on the other side of the backyard that was built by the cottage, no, by the Amish. So he has his area, I have my area. Unfortunately, he's not able to use his workshop as much anymore, but it is there. But yeah, it's just a few steps from the back door of our house. But it is awesome. So I can be out here and still very close to being able to go in for whatever it is that I need to do in the house. Never more than a few steps away if my husband needs anything. Works out very well. That makes it all the more special. Yes. Do nursing homes or hospitals have material recommendations for donated quilts, care and washing? Um, I mean, I donate to them. I have never given because I don't work with anything other than, cotton in what I do, Jim. But and I think the best answer to that would be is whichever one you are thinking of donating to, give them a call because the requirements and what they ask for may be different from, nursing home to nursing home. And hospitals are definitely, you always need to check with them because some accept things, some don't. So, and most of them will have a liaison that handles charity donations. You'll get the number for that and they will give you awesome information on what their needs are. Which Danielle just recommended the same thing as what I just said. So, yes, the Amish do awesome work. They do. Watching the Amish work is like watching a symphony in progress, is what I mean. They are so in sync, in tune with each other that they know exactly what the other one needs. And they will toss the tools back and forth as they are working. They always have normally a Mennonite with them because that will be their driver. And it is just awesome. And they actually, the day that they built this, it was built from start to finish. I'm talking siding on, windows in, roof on, everything, window boxes in one day. And it stormed that day. They worked through the rain. When the storm got bad and it started lightning, they all went and they stood inside my husband's workshop until the lightning stopped. And then they came back out and continued to work. It is awesome. Their work ethic is something truly to behold, but awesome. So it's not a store. No. If you're talking about my stitching cottage, it is not a store. It is just what I refer to it as. It is not a shed at all. Some people like, to say she shed. This is not a shed. Does not look anything like a shed. So, but built your neighbors in a day. Yeah. Yeah, Mama Jean's Stitching Cottage is not as it could be. Some people think it is. It could very easily be a shop if I wanted it, to be, and I do, for those of you that are not aware. I am actually a certified, yeah, LLC. The Kept in Stitches before comes from what I had for because I was hoping to open a quilt shop. So my name Kept in Stitches is actually Kept in Stitches LLC. And it is still active for if I ever did want to open up a shop. I just have not done that. And so Danielle says, okay, I need to hire some Amish to come finish some renovations here. Yeah, oh, awesome, awesome, awesome work. The homes they build around here are just awesome. Yes, amazing hubby for sure. Yeah, they're barn raisings. Yes. Yeah, that's And then the meals and everything, and the women, how they fix for them, all the workers. Yeah, that's a full out concert, not just a symphony. When you see the barn raisings. And fortunately, the which for those of you that aren't aware, the Amish community in it's kind of, I guess you would consider it northern Ohio. Um, I can hear the machine, can't hear myself talking. Is the largest Amish community in the world is located here in Ohio. And it is about 2.5 hours from where I live. So I am fortunate that I do get to go there every so often. The last trip, my good friend Debbie Williams, that you see on here, that is one of my friends that gets to come to the Stitching Cottage, and I have and continue to teach her to quilt. We went for, I believe it was 2 nights, 3 days, to a bed and breakfast that I loved there, and went on their little mini shop hop. I believe it was a year ago now, because I believe it was last April. So, and had an awesome time. And they have a large week-long shop hop every year that is held the last weekend in October, first week in November. And that is a great one to go to also. Just make sure you save up for it, because you will find so many things that you want. Good morning, Vicky. It is great to see you. And I don't think I've missed anyone else. I'm getting close to having all the blocks done for this. But I'm wondering why I guess because I have picked up from the wrong stacks here once in a while. They were all laid out, but in talking and doing it, I guess I forgot which side I picked up from once in a while, which, since it's scrappy, whoops, and we did not get that seam allowance over there correctly. We will press that again. I have a few more pieces on one side than the other. There's two there. You can't sew two of the same on. We need to switch those out. Okay, now we're back in business. Looking, going, how come I had more on the left over on the sides than in the middle section? But we got it figured out now. A year ago this week. Yeah, that's what I just loved the trip and look forward to getting to go again. Yes. Hoping to be able to go to the larger one in the fall, but have to play it by ear. I cannot make I can't make any plans ahead. Just the way my life is. So can hope, but can't plan. We shall see if everything works out. Hopefully we will be going, Debbie. Of course, the problem with that is, of the larger one, all the accommodations fill up a whole lot quicker than when we went to the little one in April. And so gonna have to start checking and seeing if there's even accommodations available for those dates. I will remember to do that, because I certainly do not want to drive back and forth. it may not be that far, but too far after walking all day and doing all that to drive back and forth besides. Tracy says we were stationed in Pennsylvania for 4 years and I always wanted to go to their store. Yeah. Awesome. Mary Wilson from Minnesota, good old Minnesota, my good old state that I grew up in. Hello, nice to watch you sew. Well, thank you, Mary. And that's okay. Knew what you meant there, Tracy. And Letitia Machado is here. Good morning to you and welcome, welcome. I don't know why I say welcome twice. I just do. I think I get that from Shady Susan. She says welcome, welcome. I think she says welcome in, but oh. And of course, I'm not paying attention to which side I picked that up on again, but as long as it's not the same fabric, it doesn't matter. For the size quilt that I am making. Good morning, Brenda. It is great to see you this morning also. I'm making the lap size on this, and I believe it was 10 fat quarters that were needed for that size. And then just your background fabric and your binding, and that's all that's needed for this quick, easy little quilt. Terry Atkinson, for those many of you are aware of, it was a very, very popular pattern and still remains to be popular to this day. They just changed the front photo on the cover of their pattern, so it looks like it's a different pattern. Can be deceiving, but it's the same good old yellow brick road pattern. That is one of the early on ones that they designed and is very, very popular. It is one that I have used for teaching um, many times in the classes that I used to teach. They have a book called Minnesota Hot Dish of patterns. They have an awesome medallion. Now that one I would say is not beginner friendly, but I have that pattern also and was reminded of it when I was checking um, the website out to see if this pattern was still available, and it reminded me that I have that pattern. I thought, ooh, yeah. But at this point in time, I already have 50 million and one projects going. So, oh, and there, speak of Shady Susan, there she pops up. She says, did I hear my name? Were you lurking in the background there? When I say welcome, welcome, I think I get that from you. I think that's how you welcome people in on your channel. Which for those of you that are content creators that are on here, don't forget that if you would like to have your link popped in the chat, all you have to do is type in !selfie and your channel link will come up in the chat. For anyone else that isn't familiar and would like to go and check the other content creators out that are on watching this morning. Want to make sure that if there's anyone that isn't familiar with any of them, that you go over and see their awesome content in what they do also. Now, I may have picked up your welcome, welcome, but I don't finish with toodles. That's Susan's other bit. When she says goodbye, it's toodles, everyone. Oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. And of course, I haven't seen her on this morning, but we have several of us that follow and watch. Yeah, you were lurking. I gotcha. Um, that have new puppies. So it's fun to see our puppies also when we share them when we are doing our live kitchen, which Whip is passed out on the floor. Oh, look, there's no more pieces here. That means I've finished all of the blocks and can go on to the next step. That went rather quickly. Running out of room on my mat here. Okay. Add that to these. That's quite the stack of blocks there. Get them stacked up a little bit better so I can fit my clip on them. Just straightening out. This is step C, so I must be ready for step D, which I know is part of the borders on this have pieced. It's a pieced border with smaller blocks that are similar. So it's quite the border. I'll bring that down so you can see that again. But see the border? That's all pieced. So there are several pieces to go in putting together that border that goes around there also. And that should be D, which now we have to sew these sets together, and then there will be subcuts made out of that. Moxie May is great. Yes. Moxie May and Whip could pass for twins almost. Well, yeah, be fraternal twins since Moxie May is a girl and Whip is a boy, but they look an awful lot alike. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that I don't make a mistake. Ready, press towards the smaller strip. Okay, will do. So now I'm just going to stitch these together into sets. And then there will be subcuts made out of these for all of those pieces for the borders of the quilt. That's going to look so cool with the red background. Yes, I really think so. It will look great in my kitchen with the red background. It may be a little bit large for the table. I don't know. We'll see. But I put a lot of decorate with quilts on my table in the kitchen quite often. I'm always changing it out according to the time of year and the season, the holiday, whatever it is. Hang quilts on the walls in the house, and I do change those out. So and I change them according to the season and time of year on what's on the bed. So and Fern King is here. Good morning and welcome to you, Fern. It is great to see you. Welcome. Just working on a cute little quick and easy quilt that was in my work in progress inventory this morning. which forgot to mention, except I think you've gotten the gist of it. This quilt I am keeping for myself. That doesn't happen very often anymore. And when there's strip sets that I need to do other subcuts on, long arm always comes in handy back there to hang those on until we get to the next step. Yes, this is going to be quite the cheerful quilt, I do believe. It'll be interesting to see how it all comes together. And Danielle says, okay, bowl cozies are priced and in the inventory list. Awesome, you're making progress, Danielle. And Brenda asks, do you eat at the table with the quilt on it? Yes, I do. I usually have some type of, yeah, what would you call it? Not a, not a placemat, but something that I will put on top of. If it is something, that I'm afraid is going to get spilled, I might lift the corner of the quilt up so it's not underneath the plate. But yes, I use and wash my quilts that I use in the kitchen. Quilts that, I don't, I'm afraid of, something happening to her or whatever. Yeah, no, they're not used on the kitchen table, but they are meant to be used and loved. So making sure there isn't any other. And I don't believe I saw you pop in, Teresa Foister. I don't remember, so I'm sorry if I did not say hello and greet you. That's the first I saw your name down there. But she is saying that Brenda friendly. I go to thrift store for usable placemats, etc. My sewing is for looking awesome, not eating on. LOL. My, I have to say that, yeah, my quilting and sewing is made to be used and loved. And yeah, that doesn't mean that I'm making, using, cheap fabric or anything. I use, quilt shop, good, expensive. I mean, my Tilda quilts that you just saw in my week in review, Tilda fabric is quite expensive. It's from the designer is from Australia. Um, and yeah, I believe in, of course, there are some that only get hung on the wall, but any quilt that I make and give to someone, it's, I prefer to see it being used than folded up in a closet or a shelf somewhere that no one ever sees it. I can always make another quilt. It's, and I have already many, 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 many. So if something happens, there's always another one to take its place. But I quilt for the joy and the love of it. So, and love to use them. Loved it. Whoops, that's the selvage edge. Want that on the other end. And Carrie Leonard is here this morning also. Welcome, welcome. Anyone use the strange looking True Cut rotary cutter? True Cut. True Cut. I am using the Quilters Select. I don't think it's called True Cut. Nope. But I'm using the Quilters Select, which is if you have hand problems, any type of hand problems, arthritis, anything, yeah, it is an expensive rotary cutter, but just in the little bit that I've had it, I did not have use of my hand yesterday, and I was able to use that rotary cutter because I did not have to put any force on it because it is weighted and it's heavy and it went through the fabric like butter. So I was able to use that. I'm not sure what the True Cut one is. I haven't seen that one either. I think I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar with it, Teresa. Sorry. And Fern King says she uses her quilts also. Yes. I have never entered a quilt in a show. It doesn't mean that I haven't done show quality quilts, as I have. I just don't enter them. But yeah, I want my quilts to be used, loved, appreciated, taken care of. I don't want to. However, as a quilter, you have to know, is it hard if you've made someone a quilt, you put your time and your effort into it, and you go to their home and you find it, in the dog bed, or something like that. But we have to know anything, anything you give away, you never know what the recipient is going to do with it. They may give it to someone else. I mean, how many times do people regift things? So it's, the thought and the love that goes into it, how they decide to use it is how they decide to use it. It's theirs. It's a gift. That's why it's called a gift. So once it is given away, it is no longer our choice on what is done with it. But that doesn't mean that I would gift someone another, quilt had I seen that, except however, I make quilts for specifically for dog beds. Every one of our dogs have had their own quilt in their dog bed. And when they have been put to sleep, they get buried with their quilt. So, and Whip just woke up when I said that. No, don't worry about that, Whip. You're not going anywhere. Oh. Carrie says, I am sleep 1/4 on my bed. Okay. And Katie says, it has a slot that fits over the ridge on the side of the ruler. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Yes, it is hard to see, but just like anything else, I mean, we have to think how many times, for a birthday or a Christmas present have we gotten something that we really didn't. We weren't so thrilled about, but the person giving it to us was very thrilled about it. So yeah, it's hard. It's really, really, really hard. And I have had my feelings, hurt on some, but you just have to remember it's a gift. It's a gift. If you still want control of what's done with it and how it's taken care of, you need to keep it and not give it away. Thank you, Jean. Jean Rohr says, great camera angles. Thank you. I yeah. I come on quite early before I hit the live button because I have to set them up each and every time. They look like they're always in the same location, and they are as close as I can get them, but they're not there because they're a little bit in the way to be doing, the work when I'm not taping. So, but thank you. I appreciate that. Nice to know. Whip. Yes. All capitals. W, capital W, capital I, capital P stands for the same terminology for quilting, work in progress. And of course, we have Stitches, who is in the house with her daddy. Oh, yes, I know. I know. It's hard. Very, very hard. But But, it's also, there's also, I have made quilts and given with the intentions that I want them to be used. And I think that sometimes it's hard too when you never see the person using the quilt. So it's like, yeah, like please, please use it. When you use it and wear it out, I will gladly make you another one. Puppies are a work in progress, most definitely. And Whip lives up to his name very well. Rita gave you a quilt for your birthday. Okay, I got it, Katie. Yes, I haven't gotten to go back and see the replay on that one yet of what did Carrie Leonard get in her box. I haven't seen, so don't tell me everything. I will go back and watch that, Carrie. And Vicky says that she is going to make a mini quilt for animal shelters in Louisiana. They need mini quilt for all the animals, especially from all the storms. Yes. Yeah. And that's another place. I know that the animal shelters do accept donations. And it does change from animal shelter too, what they will accept and not accept. But so many awesome. I don't think my iron heated up that time. I didn't get it back in the thing correctly. Can tell. Didn't feel hot. So we'll take just a quick break here for a minute. I've been very lucky in how people have appreciated the quilts I've given them. I've made lots of kitty quilts also. Yes, awesome. I have been lucky too. There's been a couple, and I think, that's bound to happen. Anyone that, does crafts and gives things away, there's always, always those sad moments when it's like, yeah, wasn't used quite the way that we tended it to be, but that's just, like they say, it's called, I was going to say, no, we won't use that terminology because some people might not like that. What I was thinking of. You have to remember, I grew up in Minnesota. There's a couple other things we do in Minnesota that I was going to use the analogy with that, but we won't. Yes, many that have reached out for them. Yes. Yeah. Gives them something to comfort them while they're in those little pens in the shelters. And I think most of them, it goes with them when somebody adopts them and takes them from the shelter. Getting quite the stack up there too. Like I said, hopefully I will be able to finish. Well, not have it quilted, but have the quilt top done before the day is over. And Katie says, used to make kennel blankets out of fleece and flannel. Simply fold the flannel over the edge of the fleece and sew around a couple times. They were used constantly. Yes, yes, I remember. Yeah, those are very welcomed at the shelters. And they are quick and easy to make. And stockings for soldiers, yes, have made the hat liners for inside their helmets also. Many things. We could go on and on and on. Made them for a low-cost spay and neuter clinic. Well, that's awesome too. Awesome. Stitches just got spayed on Monday. She's still in the recuperating mode of that. And Jean says, I'm always torn about how much time to put into charity quilts. Is it going to be used once and thrown away, or is it going to be used for a long time? And you know, I never ever think about that. The charity quilts that I do the same way. I think of it the same as if I'm making a quilt for myself. I think those that I'm giving to for charity deserve pretty nice things also. So it's just, yeah. I have so much and so much fabric, and I love to quilt and sew and do everything, and I don't need everything that I make. So yeah. I right now in this point in time in my life, I make a lot more for charity than I do for myself or gifts or anything else. I just am behind in getting them quilted right now and getting them distributed, but I will catch up on that. And I do always have ones that are put aside for those emergency things needed for charity. Will you quilt this one by hand? No, I will not. This one will be quilted by either by the domestic machine or on the long arm, probably the long arm. No, the ones that I quilt by hand are more ones that, yeah, would not, you wouldn't probably find them on my kitchen table. You will find it, on somebody's bed, or, somebody, has a, covering up on the couch or keeping warm with, but no, right now I have too many still waiting to be finished in the hand quilting stack. So this one will be added to the long arm or domestic, depending on how I decide I want to quilt it. I mean, what design I want to do it in. That always determines whether it's long arm or domestic. I can be a lot more creative on the long arm than I can on the domestic. That's just me, but and Fern says right now she's working on a Quillo. Those are cute. They're fun. And Jim says, I always tell people to feel free to regift. I made it to let them know I was thinking of them first and foremost. Yes, that is an awesome way to look at it, Jim. I know my grandparents never kept anything we gave them. My mom and dad actually got to where they would gift my grandparents something that my mom and dad wanted because they knew in about a year they were going to get it back. So they caught on to that. But Danielle says, I don't think about what the person that receives my charity quilt do with them. I just want them to be loved and give the organizations that will love, oh, like the little ones. Yes. Goodbye, Kathy. Have a great day. Oh, it is after 12 o'clock, isn't it? And Vicky says these quilts can't be made out of flannel due to the small dogs and cats get their nails caught in the flannel. Huh. Okay. And Giovanna says she has to go and help my daughter. We'll watch the replay and welcome. I'm sorry, I don't think I said hello to you when you popped in, Giovanna. Thank you for being here. And everyone is saying goodbye to Kathy and Giovanna, and Melissa makes quilts. Yay, finally caught you live again. I need to print out your schedule, maybe. It's easy because it doesn't change. It's Monday and Friday at 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time. And the new one that is live is Wednesday afternoons at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then my week in review is recorded at whatever time I get around to it on Sundays. That is my schedule for you, Melissa. But thank you. I appreciate it. Of course, you're on at the end, but I think I may go to where I at least have this step done. I only have a couple more strip sets there to do, so I always had the time allotted for these for 2 hours. I've never gone 2 hours, but I do have it allotted for that. I just find myself doing things quicker than I think I'm going to do them, and I'm usually done right around about the hour time. But sometimes there may be things that I'm going into more detail and everything for that might take longer. So I do always have it scheduled for a 2 hour time slot. Yeah, so don't forget my new um decided to do the tip demo Wednesdays, change it to instead of a recorded, it is now a live called It's Tip Demo Time. And those are now Wednesday afternoons at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And of course, those a lot of times will, if we are doing a block of the month, a quilt stitch along, anything like that, and it needs an instructional, you know, piece to be done with it, those will be included in those so that those that are doing the stitch alongs and everything can see the steps and everything that goes into the making of that. Which reminds me, and I did make a note to I was wondering, why is my name in green? Your name is in green, Vicky, because you are a member and supporter of the channel and one of the members of the Stitching Friends. So your name shows up in green to let everyone know that those are the ones that are have paid for the membership to my YouTube channel, which I know you know that you're a member of the channel. So that is why it is in green, and the little star beside you lets us know how many months you have been a member of the channel. That is why that is there. Okay, haven't missed anyone or any questions. All right, we are just buzzing right along in there. And I guess what I've done is my iron has run out of steam is why it just doesn't seem the same to me. I see on the selvage of this one of these fabrics is it's actually by the 30s reproduction collection that was called Recess. Those are the ones I have. I'm almost out of all my 30s reproduction prints. I only have a few left, and Recess are some of the ones that I do have up there. And I'm on the last strip set for this section. There is one other section that needs to be stitched before I start putting this all together, which is E, and that's part of the borders also. So yeah, and I only, yeah, there's seven sets of those. Oops. I'm sewing the straight edge and ending with the selvage edge on these strip sets that I'm doing. So that's why every once in a while I'm turning one around. Okay, what did Andrea say that I missed? You will never believe what happened. Okay. Oh no. FedEx rang my doorbell and it was another sewing machine from Sewing Machines Plus. Oh my goodness. Is that supposed to be, or did they forget they sent the other one? You might want to check. That's awesome, Andrea. Wow. That would be quite the shock and surprise. Is it the same sewing machine or is it a different one, Andrea? Yes, everyone likes to say hello to everyone, Melissa. Now, I myself, you will see just so when people see me in the other ones, I am one that I like to keep it short and sweet. When I come on, I say hello to, the host or whatever, and then I say, and to everyone in the chat. So, yeah, it's not that I just it's just how I normally do it, but it's great to see everyone saying hello to everyone. Yeah, Vicky says, Andrea, I would give anything if your FedEx person would deliver another machine to her. It's the exact same one as the last time. I think it was an oopsie. Yeah, if it's the exact same one, I would say they didn't realize that they already sent it. Yeah, I'm not lucky. Yeah, I consider it being blessed. Yes, Andrea. Very blessed indeed, which I was just being thankful for the blessing of having the stitching cottage this morning before going on. And with that, I have completed the section D, except for doing all the subcuts on that now. But yes, have all of that to do. So all of those that I just made, I have to subcut those all. There will be 48 cuts out of those that will be used in the border. And then the ones that I haven't done yet, I wonder why it's done in two different sections. 5.5, 5.5, and 20. 3 by 20. I wonder why they did that in two. But anyhow, then there's 38 left to cut on the other one. Well, it's funny. I see why they're doing it. It's because they have you pressing the one towards the narrow strip and the other one towards the thicker, wider strip is why they divided it. Otherwise, it's exactly the same thing. Looked at the directions. That was a little confusing, but. And Andrea says, the house next door to us is for sale. I might just have to consider it for my stitching cottage. Plus, it has a pool. That would be awesome. I joked when the house next to us was for sale because it was a definite fixer upper, needed a lot of work. And I said, you should buy it and make it my sewing house is what I was going to call it. But did not do that. But I think, should have really done that. And just at the time, didn't think it was maybe such a great idea. But now it would have been an awesome, awesome idea. Oh, needed a drink. Do you have to send your machine back, Andrea? I suppose she needs to make a phone call first and find out what's going on and what they suggest, because I would think that they would have to send you something to pay or have it so you drop it off and don't have to pay for the postage of sending it back. It could be a little costly, but but who knows what they will do. They might just tell her to keep it. We will wait and find out what happens on that, Andrea. It'll be awesome to find out what they decide to do. But I hope that you enjoyed being able to just chat and watch as I pieced along on the I'm gonna get rid of this. Get rid of this. Oops, nope, we don't want to do it that way. How can we do this quickly? I forgot. It's okay. We'll just leave it away. It is. And I never ever clicked that off of there. Okay. But I was just going to get rid of a couple of the other cameras, but it's okay because I can't find the right button at the moment, so we'll leave it the way it is. As I thank everyone for joining me this morning, and like I said, hope that you found some interest and fun in watching as I pieced together those sections for cheese and crackers. And hopefully by Sunday, I will be able to show you the completed project on it, not quilted, but the top at least done by Sunday when I do my week in review. And Jim says, always fun to be here. Take care, Jean, and take care, everyone. Thank you, Jim, and you too. And one of these, I wish you would join the Facebook group so I can see some of the work that you do, Jim. That would be awesome. Just saying. And Andrea says, I hope they do decide to let me keep it, but I will contact them to make sure. I told the FedEx guy that I would see him in a couple weeks. Oh, well. Great chat. And so today says, Vicky, thank you. Very nice chatting with everyone. Bye, says Brenda. Have a good day at work, Brenda. It's Friday. Bye. Have a great day. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Sweet daughter Danielle. And thanks for the live. I'm glad you're feeling better. Thank you. And there is Maritza coming on at the end. Hola to you. You'll have to catch the replay, Maritza, but thank you for popping on. And I loved catching you live. See you next time. Bye. Thank you, Fern. Take care, everyone. Have an awesome weekend. I hope that the weather is beautiful wherever you are. We've had enough storms going on, so sunshine and warmth to all of you. Great weekend. And remember, in the meantime, I can keep you in stitches. Bye-bye, everyone.